Good evening, guys. I'm back. I think it's about 6 o'clock, but it's 5 o'clock here in Tennessee. I'd like to welcome everyone that wants to join me this evening. Everyone's welcome. I'd like to invite everyone, if you haven't subscribed to my channel and you like my content, subscribe and give me a like. I'd appreciate it. So we're going to continue our reading the book of Jasher. Started in chapter 30 of the book of Jasher today. As we last read, Jacob's mother sent him to her brother to take a wife and to escape Esau. So we're going to start at verse 1, going to read to chapter 2, then get ready for dinner. Chapter 30, Jacob and Rachel. And Jacob went forth, continuing his road to Haran. And he came as far as Mount Moriah, and he tarried there all night near the city of Luz. And the Lord appeared there unto Jacob on that night. And he said unto him, I am the Lord God of Abraham, the God of Isaac thy father. The land upon which thou liest I will give unto thee and thy seed. And behold, I am with thee, and I will keep thee wherever thou goest, and I will multiply thy seed as the stars of heaven, and I will cause all thine enemies to fall before thee. When they shall make war with thee, they shall not prevail over thee. And I will bring thee again unto this land with joy, with children, and with great riches. And Jacob awoke from his sleep, and he rejoiced greatly at the vision which he had seen. He called the name of that place Bethel. And Jacob rose up from that place quite rejoiced. When he walked, his feet felt light to him for joy. And he went from there to the land of the children of the east. And he returned to Haran, and he sat by the shepherd's well. And he there found some men going from Haran to feed their flocks. And Jacob made inquiries of them, and said, We are from Haran. He said unto them, Do ye know Laban the son of Nahor? And they said, We know him, and behold, his daughter Rachel is coming along to feed her father's flock. Whilst he was yet speaking with them, Rachel, the daughter of Laban, came to feed her father's sheep, for she was a shepherdess. And when Jacob saw Rachel, the daughter of Laban, his mother's brother, he ran and kissed her, and lifted up his voice and wept. And Jacob told Rachel that he was the son of Rebekah, her father's sister. And Rachel ran and told her father, and Jacob continued to cry, because he had nothing with him to bring to the house of Laban. When Laban heard that his sister's son Jacob had come, he ran and kissed him and embraced him, and brought him into the house and gave him bread, and he ate. And Jacob related to Laban what his brother Esau had done to him, what his son Eliphaz had done to him in the road. And Jacob resided in Laban's house for 1 month. Jacob ate and drank in the house of Laban. And afterward Laban said unto Jacob, Tell me, what shall be thy wages, for how canst thou serve me for naught? Laban had no sons, but only daughters, and his other wives and handmaids were still barren in those days. And these are the names of Laban's daughters, which his wife Dinah had borne unto him. The name of the elder was Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel. And Leah was tender-eyed, but Rachel was beautiful and well-favored, and Jacob loved her. And Jacob said unto Laban, I will serve thee 7 years for Rachel thy younger daughter. And Laban consented to this, and Jacob served Laban 7 years for his daughter Rachel. 2187 Eber died. And in the 2nd year of Jacob's dwelling in Haran, that is in the 79th year of the life of Jacob, in that year died Eber the son of Shem. He was 464 years old at his death. And when Jacob heard that Eber was dead, he grieved exceedingly, and he lamented and mourned over him many days. And in the 3rd year of Jacob's dwelling in Haran, Basmath, the daughter of Ishmael, the wife of Esau, bare unto him a son, and Esau called his name Reuel. Brother, glad you could join me. Everything been going okay today? Good, glad to hear it. Verse 18. And in the 4th year of Jacob's residence in the house of Laban, the Lord visited Laban, and remembered him on account of Jacob, and sons were born unto him. And his firstborn was Beor, his second was Eliab, and the third was Choresh. And the Lord gave Laban riches and honor, sons and daughters, and the man increased greatly on account of Jacob. And Jacob in those days served Laban in all manner of work, in the house and in the field, and the blessing of the Lord was in all that belongeth to Laban, in the house and in the field. And in the 5th year died Jehudith, the daughter of Beeri, the wife of Esau, in the land of Canaan, and she had no sons but daughters only. And these are the names of her daughters which she bare Esau. The name of the elder was Marzith, and the name of the younger was Puith. And when Jehudith died, Esau rose up and went to Seir to hunt in the field as usual. And Esau dwelt in the land of Seir for a long time. And in the 6th year Esau took for a wife, in addition to his other wives, Aholibamah, the daughter of Zibeon the Hivite, and Esau brought her to the land of Canaan. And Aholibamah conceived and bare unto Esau 3 sons. Yeush, Yalon, and Korah. And in those days in the land of Canaan there was a quarrel between the herdsmen of Esau and the herdsmen of the inhabitants of the land of Canaan. For Esau's cattle and goods were too abundant for him to remain in the land of Canaan in his father's house. And the land of Canaan could not bear him on account of his cattle. And when Esau saw that this quarreling increased with the inhabitants of the land of Canaan, he rose up and took his wives and his sons and his daughters and all belonging to him, and the cattle which he possessed and all his property that he acquired in the land of Canaan, and he went away from the inhabitants of the land to the land of Seir. And Esau and all belonging to him dwelt in the land of Seir. But from time to time Esau would go and see his father and mother in the land of Canaan. And Esau intermarried with the Horites, and he gave his daughters to the sons of Seir the Horite. And he gave his elder daughter Marzith to Anna the son of Zebeon, his wife's brother. And Puith he gave to Azar the son of Bilhan the Horite. And Esau dwelt in the mountains, he and his children, and they were fruitful and multiplied. Yep. Thank you. I'm at my sister's house in Columbia, Tennessee. She's got a very big, huge house and a big old piece of property out here. Hold on a second. Show you something before I read anymore. That's my sister's property. If I got done, when I get done, I'll show you the front of the house. She's got a big old huge house. She could fit the whole family in her house. Which sometimes we do. Especially when everybody comes over on the holidays like on Christmas and Thanksgiving. We'll usually have 30 or more people here. Alright. Let me finish reading this chapter and we'll talk a little bit. 2199, Joseph born. Alright. Oh, Jacob married Leah and Rachel. Okay, chapter 31. 2193. And in the 7th year was completed. Jacob said unto Laban, Give me a wife, for the days of my service are fulfilled. And Laban did so. And Laban and Jacob assembled all the people of that place, and they made a feast. And in the evening Laban came to the house, and afterward Jacob came there with the people of the feast. And Laban extinguished all the lights that were there in the house. Jacob said unto Laban, Wherefore dost thou do this thing unto us? And Laban answered, Such is our custom to act in this land. And afterward Laban took his daughter Leah, and he brought her to Jacob, and he came to her, and Jacob did not know that she was Leah. Laban gave his daughter Leah his maid Zilpah for a handmaid. And all the people at the feast knew what Laban had done to Jacob, but they did not tell the thing to Jacob. And all the neighbors came that night to Jacob's house, and they ate and drank and rejoiced, and played before Leah upon timbrels and with dances. And they responded before Jacob, Hallelujah, Hallelujah. And Jacob heard their words, but did not understand their meaning. But he thought such might be their custom in this land. And the neighbors spoke these words before Jacob during the night. And all the lights that were in the house Laban had that night extinguished. And in the morning when daylight appeared, Jacob turned to his wife, and he saw, and behold, it was Leah that had been lying in his bosom. And Jacob said, Behold, now I know what the neighbors said last night. Leah. They said, I knew it not. Jacob called unto Laban and said unto him, What is this that thou hast done unto me? Surely I served thee for Rachel, and why didst thou deceive me and give me Leah? And Laban answered Jacob, saying, Not so is it done in our place to give the younger before the elder. Now therefore, if thou desirest to take her sister likewise, take unto thee for the service which thou wouldst serve me for another 7 years. And Jacob did so, and he also took Rachel for a wife. And he served Laban 7 years more. Jacob also came to Rachel, and he loved Rachel more than Leah. And Laban gave her his maid Bilhah for a handmaid. And when the Lord saw that Leah was hated, the Lord opened her womb, and she conceived and bare Jacob 4 sons in those days. And these are their names, Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah. And she afterward left bearing. And at that time Rachel was barren, and she had no offspring. And Rachel envied her sister Leah. And when Rachel saw that she bare no children to Jacob, she took her handmaid Bilhah. And she bare Jacob 2 sons, Dan and Naphtali. And when Leah saw that she had left bearing, she also took her handmaid Zilpah. And she gave her to Jacob for a wife, and Jacob also came to Zilpah. And she also bare Jacob 2 sons, Gad and Asher. And Leah again conceived and bare Jacob in those days 2 sons and 1 daughter. And these are their names, Issachar, Zebulun, and their sister Dinah. And Rachel was still barren in those days. And Rachel prayed unto the Lord at that time, and she said, O Lord God, remember me and visit me, I beseech thee, for now my husband will cast me off, for I have borne him no children. Now, O Lord God, hear my supplication before thee, and see my affliction, and give me children like one of the handmaids, that I may no more bear my reproach. 2199, Joseph born. And God heard her, and opened her womb. And Rachel conceived and bare a son. And she said, The Lord has taken away my reproach. And she called his name Joseph, saying, May the Lord add to me another son. And Jacob was 91 years old when she bare him. And at that time, Jacob's mother, Rebekah, sent her nurse Deborah, the daughter of Uz, and 2 of Isaac's servants unto Jacob. Whoa! And they came to Jacob to Haran. And they said unto him, Rebekah has sent us to thee, that thou shalt return to thy father's house, to the land of Canaan. And Jacob hearkened unto them in this which his mother had spoken. At that time the other 7 years which Jacob served Laban for Rachel were completed. And it was at the end of 14 years that he had dwelt in Haran, that Jacob said unto Laban, Give me my wives, and send me away, that I may go to my land. For behold, my mother did send unto me from the land at Canaan, that I should return to my father's house. Laban said unto him, Not so, I pray thee. If I have found favor in thy sight, do not leave me. Appoint me thy wages, and I will give them, and remain with me. Jacob said unto him, This is what thou shalt give me for wages, that I shall this day pass through all the flock, and take from every lamb that is speckled and spotted, and such as are brown amongst the sheep and amongst the goats. And if thou wilt do this thing for me, I will return and feed thy flock, and keep them as at first. And Laban did so. And Laban removed from his flock all that Jacob had said, and gave them to him. And Jacob placed all that he had removed from Laban's flock in the hands of his sons, and Jacob was feeding the remainder of Laban's flock. And when the servants of Isaac, which he had sent unto Jacob, saw that Jacob would not then return with them to the land of Canaan to his father, they then went away from him, and they returned home to the land of Canaan. And Deborah remained with Jacob in Haran, and she did not return with the servants of Isaac to the land of Canaan. And Deborah resided with Jacob's wives and children in Haran. And Jacob served Laban 6 years longer. And when the sheep brought forth, Jacob removed from them such as were speckled and spotted, as they had determined with Laban. And Jacob did so at Laban for 6 years. And the man increased abundantly. And he had cattle and maidservants and menservants, camels and asses. And Jacob had 200 drove of cattle. And his cattle were of large size and of beautiful appearance, and were very productive. And all the families of the sons of men desired to get some of the cattle of Jacob, for they were exceedingly prosperous. And many of the sons of men came to procure some of Jacob's flock. And Jacob gave them a sheep for a manservant, or a maidservant, or for an ass, or a camel, or whatever Jacob desired from them they gave him. Jacob obtained riches and honor and possessions by means of these transactions with the sons of men. And the children of Laban envied him of this honor. And in the course of time he heard the words of Laban's sons, saying, Jacob has taken away all that was our father's, and that which was our father's has he acquired all this glory. And Jacob beheld the countenance of Laban and of his children, And behold, it was not toward him in those days as it had been before. And the Lord appeared to Jacob at the expiration of the 6 years. And he said unto him, Arise, go forth out of this land, and return to the land of thy birthplace, and I will be with thee. And Jacob rose up at that time, and mounted his children and wives and all belonging to him upon camels. And he went forth to go to the land of Canaan to his father Isaac. And Laban did not know that Jacob had gone from him, for Laban had been that day sheep shearing. And Rachel stole her father's images, and she took them, and she concealed them upon the camel upon which she sat, and she went on. And this is the manner of the images. In taking a man who is the firstborn, and slaying him, and taking the hair of his head, and taking salt, and salting the head, and anointing it in oil, then taking a small tablet of copper, or a tablet of gold, and writing the name upon it, and placing the tablet under his tongue, and taking the head with the tablet under the tongue, and putting it in the house, and lighting up lights before it, and bowing down to it. And at that time when they bow down to it, it speaketh to them in all matters that they ask of it, through the power of the name which is written in it. And some make them in the figures of men of gold and silver, and go to them in times known to them. And the figures receive the influence of the stars, and tell them future things. And in this manner were the images which Rachel stole from her father. And Rachel stole these images which were her father's, in order that Laban might not know through them where Jacob had gone. And Laban came home, and he asked concerning Jacob and his household. And he was not to be found, and Laban sought his images to know where Jacob had gone, and could not find them. And he went to some other images, and he inquired of them, and they told him that Jacob had fled from him to his fathers, to the land of Canaan. And Laban then rose up, and he took his brothers and all his servants, and he went forth and pursued Jacob, and he overtook him in Mount Gilead. And Laban said unto Jacob, What is this thou hast done to me, to flee and deceive me, and leave my daughters and their children as captives taken by the sword? And thou didst not suffer me to kiss them, and send them away with joy. And thou didst steal my gods, and didst go away. And Jacob answered Laban, saying, Because I was afraid, lest thou wouldst take thy daughters by force from me. And now with whomsoever thou findest thy gods, he shall die. And Laban searched for the images, and he examined in all Jacob's tents and furniture, but could not find them. And Laban said unto Jacob, We will make a covenant together, and it shall be a testimony between me and thee. If thou shalt afflict my daughters, or shalt take other wives besides my daughters, even God shall be a witness between me and thee in this matter. And they took stones and made a heap. And Laban said, This heap is a witness between me and thee. Therefore he called the name thereof Gilead. And Jacob and Laban offered sacrifices upon the mount, and they ate there by the heap. And they tarried in the mount all night. And Laban rose up early in the morning, and he wept with his daughters, and he kissed them, and he returned unto his place. And he hastened and sent off his son Beor, who was 17 years old, and Abishur, the son of Uz, the son of Nahor, and with them were 10 men. And they hastened and went and passed on the road before Jacob. And they came by another road to the land of Seir. And they came unto Esau and said unto him, Thus saith thy brother and relative, thy mother's brother Laban, the son of Bethuel, saying, Hast thou heard what Jacob thy brother has done unto me, who first came to me naked and bare? And I went to meet him and brought him to my house with honor. And I made him great, and I gave him my daughters for wives, and also 2 of my maids. And God blessed him on my account, and he increased abundantly, and had sons and daughters and maidservants. He is also an immense stock of flocks, herds, camels, and asses, also silver and gold in abundance. And when he saw that his wealth increased, he left me whilst I went to shear my sheep. And he rose up and fled in secrecy. And he lifted his wives and children upon camels, and he led away all his cattle and property which he acquired in my land. And he lifted up his countenance to go to his father Isaac to the land of Canaan. And he did not suffer me to kiss my daughters and their children, and he laid my daughters as captives taken by the sword. And he also stole my gods, and he fled. And now I have left him in the mountains of the brook of Jabbok, him and all belonging to him. He lacketh nothing. If it be thy wish, go to him. Go then, and there wilt thou find him, and thou canst do unto him as thy soul desireth. Laban's messengers came and told Esau all these things. And Esau heard all the words of Laban's messengers, and his anger was greatly kindled against Jacob, and he remembered his hatred, and his anger burned within him. And Esau hastened and took his children and servants, and the souls of his household, being 60 men. And he went and assembled all the children of Seir the Horite, and the people being 340 men, and took all his number 400 men with drawn swords. And he went unto Jacob to smite him. And Esau divided his number into several parts. And he took the 60 men of his children and servants, and the souls of his household was 1 head, and gave them in care of Eliphaz his eldest son. And the remaining heads he gave to the care of the 6 sons of Seir the Horite. And he placed every man over his generations and children. And the whole of this camp went as it was, and Esau went amongst them toward Jacob, and he conducted them with speed. And Laban's messengers departed from Esau, and went to the land of Canaan. And they came to the house of Rebekah, the mother of Jacob and Esau. And they told her, saying, Behold, thy son Esau has gone against his brother Jacob with 400 men, for he had heard that he was coming, and he is gone to make war with him, and to smite him and to take all that he has. And Rebekah hastened and sent 72 men from the servants of Isaac to meet Jacob on the road. For she said, peradventure Esau may make war in the road when he meets him. And these messengers went on the road to meet Jacob. And they met him in the road of the brook, on the opposite side of the brook Jabbok. And Jacob said when he saw them, this camp is destined to me from God. And Jacob called the name of that place Machanaim. And Jacob knew all his father's people, and he kissed them and embraced them, and came with them. And Jacob asked them concerning his father and mother, and they said they were well. And these messengers said unto Jacob, Rebekah thy mother has sent us to thee, saying, I have heard, my son, that thy brother Esau has gone forth against thee on the road with men from the children of Seir the Horite. Therefore, my son, hearken to my voice, and see with thy counsel what thou wilt do. And when he comes up to thee, supplicate him, and do not speak rashly to him, and give him a present from what thou possessest, and from what God has favored thee with. Scare me to death, dog. Will you hush? Excuse the dog. Stop, buddy. And when he asketh thee concerning thy affairs, conceal nothing from him. Perhaps he may turn from his anger against thee, and thou wilt thereby save thy soul, thou and all belonging to thee. For it is thy duty to honor him, for he is thy elder brother. When Jacob heard the words of his mother, which the messengers had spoken to him, Jacob lifted up his voice and wept bitterly, and did as his mother then commanded him. We'll finish that up tomorrow. All right. Hi, Susan. How are you? Good to see you. And hi, Barry. Good to see you on here, brother. Hope everyone's having a good day. Alright, I gotta get up for a minute. But as you can see, it's my sister's house. Told Vast I'd show him the front of the house, so I'll show you all too. It's a big house, the whole family can fit in it. Whenever we all come up here on Christmas and Thanksgiving, it's a big house. Get where you can see the house a little bit. But that's the house. It's a huge house. All right. But so, to the rest of you, how's your all's day been? Everybody been doing okay today? Yeah, it's beautiful out here, that's for sure. I think the high is supposed to be 74 degrees today. And that's my brother, Anthony. Well, good. I'm glad everybody's done good. That's great. But I gotta get off here soon because my phone's about to die on me again for the 4th time today. But I hope y'all enjoyed reading of the book of Jasher. But that's what was holding my phone up while I was reading to you. But I love you all, and I will see you all on Colin's stream tonight, hopefully. Good Lord willing. But you all have a good evening, rest of the evening. I'll see you tonight. God bless you all, and have a good evening, okay? Bye for now.